Hello.
Hey, good
How are
morning,
you?
Dr. K. This is Thomas.
Hi, Thomas. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for letting me get a chance to talk to you.
Sure.
So basically, kind of why I wanted to do this, I just wanted to get some basic info down on what some good first principle resources would be. Accounts of folks that would have pretty good understanding, just like yourself, about the Mars suit, or just any astronaut suit in general. Um, so in that regard, I just wanted to kind of start with you. I'll get to know a little bit about you, your journey in NASA, and then get to know a little bit about possibly some connections that you think would be useful for me to have, for us to have, um, and as we're kind of developing our initial designs for whatever we end up designing. So, do you think that would be okay?
Yeah, that's a big topic. I mean, we're going to have to home down on certain parts of it because
Yes. No.
there's
Absolutely.
not many. Yeah, right.
Uh, uh,
So,
I guess right now where I'd like to start is at least getting some context down, good context, um,
okay.
and just to get more of an information, and then I guess from there, once we have a better picture of what it is that we want to do, maybe we could narrow down on the questions, I guess, for the actual interview later on, if that's fine.
Yeah, that's good, and I appreciate your approach to this. So,
Awesome. And then one last thing. Would you mind if I just record this phone call just so that I can go back and access it? If it's a number that
not
I
at all. Not
okay,
at all. No,
okay,
absolutely not.
okay,
But I would request you to make it available to the other team members because that's
absolutely.
something I want to mention to you.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. I plan
Okay.
on doing that.
So, um, what how much in depth have you gone into the website?
So I've started reading some of the material. So we've kind of split it up in terms of the sub teams that were there last year. So a few of us are doing, or at least me myself, I'm doing the helmet and the life support system. And we kind of split it up in two by two on the components that were already built and the PDFs that were out there, just so that we understand it a little bit more. Um,
Okay.
our plan is by Monday to kind of narrow down, or at least have a better understanding of all the work that's been done, and then narrow down to potential candidates that we might be interested in pursuing. And then a Tuesday, kind of a recap with you on um, next steps, at least preliminary next steps that we're planning.
Okay.
So that's the game plan. But really to finalize on the next steps, I'd like to go through an interview process with at least a few other people, kind of get their understanding of where the project is, what the challenges are, all of that. So,
Right. Okay.
um, in your
Well, let me give you,
go ahead.
as far as helmet,
Hmm.
um, torso, neck dam, concept,
Hmm.
or concepts, because there are multiple ones.
Yeah.
Um, Robert, what is his last name? Um, I'll come to me in a minute. There was one guy in the torso group,
Okay.
and he's a graduate student,
Okay.
and he did a lot of thinking and CAD drawings, and he actually, I think I mentioned, built up he started to build a prototype using latex, painted latex on a torso.
Okay.
So he's a very good resource to start about
Okay. The torso.
the torso. So in fact, what I would recommend first is reading the final reports,
Okay.
because the final reports for each team should be posted
Okay. Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
website,
It was there.
and their names are there.
Okay.
And I don't know if their emails are there, but I certainly have them, so I have the whole email mailing list. In fact, I've emailed all 33 and asked them and alerted them that they might be hearing from you guys.
Okay.
So,
And where
Robert
were those emails? Were they all just in the final reports? Like, how do we know what subsection they kind of worked on?
well, one way to get that in a hurry
Yeah.
is to get on Twitter and do a search for ME292A.
Okay.
And you'll see all the lectures and literally everything we did was recorded.
Okay.
And all of those recordings are available, and they were posted to Twitter on the ME292A. So if you go to ME292A on Twitter, you'll see, I think it says Final Report Part 1 and Final Report Part 2.
Okay.
And Final Report Part 1, you have to be careful because the camera was running for 9 minutes before we actually started. So there's nothing going on, blank for the first 9 minutes.
Okay.
But after that, each team gets up, and each person in each team describes what it is they did. And so you'll get a pretty good snapshot of who did what.
Okay.
And once you get that, I'll supply you with the emails. Once you decide who you want to contact, or if you just give me a reminder and you forward me an email, I'll just send you the whole internal class mailing list. So there were more than, we had quite a few others who were not even local. We had
Okay.
one student in particular at Texas A&M. She's very active, and maybe a couple of others. So
Okay.
I'll just forward that list to you so you'll know, and then you can connect the dots. Once you know the names, you'll see the email, or you'll see the names of the ones you want to contact. Do it that way too. But I would say Robert and there's there's a woman in the helmet group. The helmet group was pretty big. There were about 10 in that group. And there were 1 and 2 in particular who really kind of did a majority of the research and are notable. So, so there's a couple there. Ben Kieser is outstanding, and he led the PLUS group. That was probably the largest group.
Ben Kieser is in which group you said? PLSS?
The PLUS, yeah,
Okay.
PLSS. And he worked for SpaceX as an intern.
Okay.
And he did a lot of that. Him and Kivan. Kivan is another one. And Kivan was going to come to the meeting. So there's probably 3. There's Rashika also, an Indian woman. She graduated. So there were 3 from the PLUS group. There were 4 in the coding group. And, you know, all that material and everything they did is fresh in their minds at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're all good resources to contact. And plus, they're on campus, most of them. Once you start getting into knowledge experts in the field, they've got, of course, day jobs, and, you know, of course, they're willing and anxious to help any way they can, but they may be harder to pin down and to visit with but you certainly can. And one in particular, his name is Dan Wynn. Dan's at JSC, and he was my coding expert on Legacy. That's the
one more time. Dan Wynn at
Johnson Space Center.
Johnson Space Center. Okay.
Yeah, and he would be very good at helping out.
Got it. Is his specialty just in software, or does he have like a pretty good understanding of the current suit?
Yeah, he does. He does some testing stuff, and his job is more or less testing and various different kinds of suit components. He's
Okay.
not overall a suit expert.
Okay.
It's hard to find a quote one suit expert. If I had to pick one person to talk to, her name would be Amy Ross, and she'd be receptive too.
Amy Ross.
Father,
okay.
You know.
Got it. And why exactly? Is she was she also a past student, a former student?
No. She's been. Her father was an astronaut. She's been at
Oh.
NASA for 25 years. So, but
Got
she's aware of this kind of thing, and she probably would help in terms of giving you some resources.
Okay.
There's another guy that I work with who's very good, very knowledgeable on suits, but mostly thermal stuff, thermal control, and but he's the guy to talk to about getting. Like he provided 41 node man, for instance, and he provides. It depends what the question is that you've got. I mean, honestly, the first thing you've got to decide is what piece of this pie you guys want.
Right. So
there's more global questions. If you want global questions answered from actual people who are using this stuff. Well, Charlie Camarda would be top of the list because he's an astronaut, former astronaut, and he's kind of my partner in this whole venture. And he's receptive if you go through Skype.
Okay.
Skype chat more than Skype video or audio. Well, he'll do that too.
Okay.
And I would say the top three external resources are Charlie, but Charlie is more these days tuned to the EpiChallenge website and learning technology. I mean, that's really what he wants to do. He's not particularly emphasizing a suit any more than a habitat or other elements of a Mars mission.
Right. So he's involved in the overall big picture sort of thing.
Yeah, but from the standpoint of learning technology website, that's what he's doing right now.
Got it.
That's his emphasis. Materials experts. There's a guy by the name of Tim Lavery who runs the World Explorers Bureau. It's based out of Ireland, but he works with a lot of people who test this extreme environment equipment, and he's very knowledgeable about materials, especially outer layers of a suit. I'm just throwing some names at you so you'll know. That dense polymer, the membrane, you can hunt around and find that actually in the final presentation you'll see a demonstration of that membrane.
Okay.
And that fellow's name, why is it escaping me?
Okay. So if I wanted like first perspective understanding of what it's like in a suit, Charlie would be a good person, and as well as Amy Ross. So those are the two that I kind of got down. And because they were former astronauts, are they still like very involved with current astronauts as well, like training wise? You know what they go about doing on a day to day.
Oh yeah, yeah, they know.
Okay.
But I know too. So, but
okay, very good.
It's good for you to reach out and extend this.
Okay, I think what I guess my strategy right now then is get in touch with those 30 students, get their perspective, and then from there kind of move to the next level up. Folks that have gotten some actual, I guess, industry experience is the best way to say it.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. Yeah.
So we know kind of what we're actually working with, and then from there just keep getting contacts that way, and then refer back to you every so once in a while just when we get stuck on questions or if we need more. That's a good
strategy, and I would think about lasering in on the elements that you really want to do because it's a gigantic problem.
Yeah.
And if you try, you can get overwhelmed by it because there's so many different disciplines and so many different things required. So you might you might think about what you can actually do
Right.
and accomplish that would move the state of the art forward. And so, some of these elements are a lot further along than others.
Yeah. No, I understand. Especially
like
when I was looking into it, like I could make almost like a thesis out of just one small component of it.
That's exactly right.
So,
Right.
yeah, okay, that's not a problem. I think we'll try our best to kind of get as much as we can done. But yeah, right now we're just going through the material, just trying to understand exactly where the problem is at and what some
Sure.
interesting problems are that we can use our expertise on, and yeah, move from there. Okay, but this is definitely good. I think at least right now I've got a strategy in mind. That's really what I was hoping to get out of this interview, just to understand what a good next step after reading would be. So yeah, sounds good. Then
now there's also the final presentation.
Okay.
The final presentation Dave. Yeah, the final presentation, if you go on YouTube, I think I might have said that, if you go on YouTube,
okay,
and you go to the channel Into Mars, like my email address,
okay,
part of my email address. There's about 60 videos there. One of them is called Humans to Mars Conference.
Okay.
And I think another one might be final report, final presentation. If you just go by the dates, they're starting around last May.
Okay.
And if you just look at those final presentations, you'll be up to speed pretty much on all the different pieces of the pie that you can look at and where they stand.
Okay.
That'll get you up to speed real fast, and I would urge you to do that. That's a good starting point.
Okay. And yeah, we'll also look into the actual final report presentations. Okay. Is that the same video that you were talking about that was also on Twitter? Or is that a different? No,
the one on Twitter is a lot more detailed. The one on Twitter really is the one on Twitter is everybody getting up, doing a 5 to 10 minute presentation on what they did. It goes on for hours. This is the part one is probably 2 hours, and part two is 2 hours. What I'm talking about now is the presentation, PowerPoint presentation, and final presentation that was given at a conference. It's about 45 minutes long. A large audience who has no idea
about the topic
about the topic. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a much more global snapshot of this thing, and why you have to build a spacesuit that's so different in the first place.
Got it.
So it's a much higher up the.
Yeah, it's a more high level. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Probably another good starting point.
Yeah, it is. It is a good starting point. And again, Thomas, the thing of it is that just to get used to this, just shoot all of this information in summaries to the other team members. So you're all on the same page, and you're working together. And there's one chart in particular that it's in the website, actually. It's the organization chart for how we plan to proceed and how we've been proceeding. And it shows the different elements and how the teams are chosen and the strategy for evolving this by semester by semester. It's kind of, it's got a bunch of orange blocks in it. And that's the lynch point of this, because it's actually a paradigm for advancing STEM education as well. You can apply it to a lot of different things. So it's really our basis for solving this problem and other problems like it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. No. This was great. Thanks so much, Dr. K.
Sure.
Give
me a call or.
I just one last thing. This is more on like a management note. Is there any way that we would be able to, or you would be able to secure us maybe a space to kind of meet and do all of this research? Maybe a way to blow up all. Yes, meet together. What I was thinking more was just like a space, because I'm a big visual person. So, having...
No, I couldn't agree more. No, that's a great idea. What I would do, I'm not there now, is I would contact Professor Boris Rabinsky.
Okay.
He's on the 6th floor of Echeverry. He's in the let's see, what's the exact name of it? Is a biothermal lab or something like that.
Okay.
On the 6th floor of Echeverry.
Yeah.
And he's got a lab he's got an office there, and he's got a lab with a desk. And there's usually 2 or 3 graduate students in there in the back, but there's also a desk that you can, and it's usually open late, unlike these rooms that you've got to secure keys to and codes and all that stuff.
Okay.
Boris helped me last semester. So that would be the suggestion I would make, the easiest suggestion, because it's centrally located.
Okay.
You'll be able to get his email off the website.
No, I already have it. I was planning on...
So just contact it and just tell him that I made the suggestion that you guys would like to meet and have a space periodically. Would it be okay to use the desk in his lab? What would be the times that you could do it? Those kinds of things.
Yeah, just the logistics behind it. Yep. Can do. All right,
and then the other resource we have is Reza Alam. Now, Reza Alam, he's right around the corner from Boris, actually, and he's offered to be a help resource for this. And his time is kind of limited.
Yeah.
But he is he secured the other rooms for us, and he's an open ear. And the other person you should have on your mailing list is Wayne Welker, who's in charge of the Capstone Project. He was at the meeting.
Yeah.
So I would put all of those folks on the mass email, which you should have, because when I sent anything I sent to you, I sent to them all.
Yeah.
So put together a master list so that they're at least aware of what's going on. So, besides, let's go over it. You've got the 4 of you. You should have Reza Alam.
Mm-hmm.
You should have Boris. You should have Wayne Welker.
Yep.
You should have Kivan.
Okay.
And you should have Ben Keyser, and you should have Sean.
Okay.
And I think 1 or 2 of my emails had all of those folks in it. So
okay.
You might need to expand it, like what I did last semester was I had an internal and an external email list.
Okay.
Also, we used it last semester. I can still use it for some odd reason, but I think that Cal's moved away from it. I used bluejeans.com as a video meeting room, because we recorded all of our lectures. So that's what I mean. If you go back on Twitter,
mm-hmm.
you'll see every lecture that was given starting last semester, and quite a few. 13, 14 lectures culminating with the final report. But if you want to have visual communications with people that aren't here, you might want to start thinking about an external communication list. As well as an internal communication list. So that's what I did. I have one. I have an external communication list, and it's large.
Okay.
It's at least 40 or 50 people.
Yeah, no, it'd be good to have all these contacts just written out. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because it has all the contacts listed. It doesn't say who they are, but you can certainly look them up. It's got their email address.
Yep.
And it runs a gamut from NASA, industry, and just a lot of resources.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, you probably you guys want to do a final presentation, and you'd want as many folks online watching that as possible. So you'd want to
a webinar
put that together.
Yep.
Yeah, right. So you want to have that list.
Okay. Okay. And so the internal list that you were talking about, would we have to copy them on everything that whenever we work on the Mars suit, or?
It's kind of up to you.
Okay.
It's kind of up to you. It's in the interest of transparency among yourselves, and in the interest of communication with the others, and the interest of certainly in the capstone project. I think Wayne and Reza and the department would probably appreciate knowing milestones and knowing that you're active in what it is you're doing, as opposed to
Oh, okay. I
you guys
understand.
are off there doing something, and at the end of the semester you're doing a report. So it doesn't hurt.
Okay. Okay. So maybe.
You don't have to do everything. You don't have to do every little, communication between you. Of course not. But there are, periodically.
Okay, got it. I understand. Just almost status updates. We can do that. That should be fine. I was just getting a little confused because I knew I had to. So I need to talk to Boris to get access to the machine shop, and there's only like a certain amount of classes that you can take. So I need like faculty approval prior to even getting into the machine shop and using all the tools down there. So that's why I was going to contact Boris. But yeah, let me work
Or
with him.
Reza.
Or Reza,
Boris
yeah.
or Reza.
Yeah. So I'll work with those professors to get moving along on that one.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I definitely got a lot of information here. At least a lot of good starting points. So this is great.
Great. Well, I appreciate you reaching out, Thomas. That's a good start.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And I'll definitely be calling more often.
okay.
So thanks so much, Dr. K. I know you're
Sure.
having a busy day probably, so I'll talk to you Tuesday.
Okay.
If that works as a team.
Well, I don't know if we've established a regular meeting time.
Okay.
Is that
Tuesday at 6 works for most of us.
it does?
Yeah, so if that works for you, then that'd be perfect. Kind of what we're doing is we'll also have internal meetings, amongst the team members, and then hopefully bring out status reports, help needed during our Tuesday meeting. I think that would be early enough in the week to have a good strategy for the rest of the week.
So why don't you contact Boris and find out about his room availability, because if it's not available like Tuesday,
okay, then we'll
you'll need to get
it, yeah.
You'll need to get Reza.
Okay.
Although the last time, it's funny, this past Tuesday, Reza had secured access to it, but he had to leave early. So when I got there, the door was locked.
Oh, okay.
And not everybody gone home.
Yeah.
So you need to get the key before 5 o'clock, because that's when the staff goes home.
Okay.
And the room keys are available, but only from the second floor. However, almost any professor up there has can access it. And that's what I did. I went into another, because I don't have the access code on my Cal card.
Okay.
But they do.
Yeah.
And I just opened it up. That's how we got in. So we don't want to be. We should have it. 5 o'clock might be a better meeting time.
Okay. Yeah. So we have to walk in and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, but you guys won't have to stay as late. I don't know how that shakes out with the rest of you in terms of schedule. You might check it out.
Okay.
Might be a better time.
Yeah.
But let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know where you stand on that.
We'll do. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll hear from you, and we'll get together next week sometime.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.